I've been running my striping business for a couple of years now, and in that time, I've learned more about business, people, and problem solving than I did in all the years before I got started. I've had good months, tough ones, and really everything in between, but through it all, I have figured out what actually works in the field. Once you've been in the field, dealing with customers, managing crews, handling cash flow, and learning the rhythm of the industry, you start to see what separates the guys who play around from the ones who build something sustainable. I'm going to give you 3 specific things that I would do differently if I were starting my striping business over again. Based on what I've actually seen out there, these are mistakes not to be ashamed of. They're lessons that have helped me sharpen my business model, protect my profits, and create consistency in an industry that can sometimes be unpredictable. And I'm going to back my points with real experience, some data from the BLS, and I'm going to give you the same business fundamentals in this video that you would learn in any college level entrepreneur class. My goal is simple. I'm going to help you shorten the learning curve and build a business that's sustainable. I want to help you from start to finish, but you got to stay until the end because this video will save you thousands of dollars if you simply just pay attention. But before we get to the video, if you're interested in line striping or seal coating, we've got training courses that cover how to stripe and how to seal coat that teach you how to do the job, what to charge, how to get customers, and much, much more. The links will be in the comment section and the description of this video, or if you're interested in getting some in-person training and want some hands-on experience in the field, go to the second link in the comment section and the description, fill out the in-person training form, and then text me afterwards. That way we can have a conversation about getting you started. But it is an investment, so if you're not really serious about the commitment for the in-person classes, you can always just grab the How to Stripe or the How to Seal Coat course. Subscribe, hit the notification bell icon, like the video, let's get to it. All right, number 1 is I would have kept my full-time job a lot longer before going all in on my striping company. Because in reality, I had enough money for the business to be self-sustainable, but it didn't generate enough revenue to consistently keep my personal bills paid while simultaneously growing the business. And really the sad truth is that most business owners really underestimate just how much cash they're going to need to survive in the early months. You've got things like insurance, equipment cost, supply cost, taxes, profitability, and there's so much more that you don't even think of. It's not just enough to paint a parking lot and then get a check. According to the Federal Reserve 2024 Small Business Credit Survey, over 90% of small businesses reported facing a financial or operational challenge within the last year, and that's mostly due to rising costs and trouble paying operating expenses. So in other words, almost everyone struggles with money when they're just starting out. And when I got fired from my day job, I immediately felt the financial pressure. I didn't have enough money saved up. Every decision became emotional instead of strategic. I was pricing jobs too low because I needed the money. I was overpromising on turnaround times just to get cash flowing. I even hired the wrong help because I couldn't afford to be selective. Now, had I kept my day job even 6 months longer, I would have had more breathing room to make better decisions. And if I could do it over again, I would save up at least 6 to 12 months of operating cost. But when I got fired, I didn't have money saved up in my account, because when you have money saved up in your account, it lets you say no to bad jobs, it helps you invest in the right equipment, and it even keeps the business running in a positive direction even in the winter season when it's really slow. And it also helps you manage the natural cash gaps in your business. So for example, striping work can be highly seasonal, especially in regions up north with winter or rainy seasons. And you might even have 2 weeks of rain followed by 3 weeks of great weather. If you have cash saved, you're not stuck waiting for invoices to clear. All right, lastly though, from a financial management perspective, I would also build a small client pipeline before quitting. That means keeping a list of 20 or 30 property managers, creating a follow-up schedule, and having a good, highly optimized Google business profile with at least 15 solid reviews with geotagged photos. And by doing that, you will have the momentum before you ever depend on your business full-time. And when you leave your job, you'll be doing it from a position of strength, not survival. All right, the second thing that I would do differently is how I went about paying people to help me. In the beginning, I would pay people on a per job basis. And really, I thought that I was saving money, but ultimately it turned into one of the most expensive mistakes that I ever made. And here's an example of something that would happen. Let's say that I sold a $1,200 job
It took $200 to complete it, and then I walked away with $1,000 profit. Well, if I had somebody helping me, I would give them $150 or even $200, even though it only took us a couple hours of work, because I wanted to pay people really good who were helping me improve my life. But I quickly learned that by doing so, it's not going to allow you to successfully grow a business, because after they would help me with one job, and if I needed help with another job that same day, I would ask them to help me again, and then they would expect the same full rate of pay, even if the job wouldn't pay as much as the other one earlier throughout the day. And ultimately, I realized that by the end of the week, I was paying a lot of money for maybe just a couple hours of actual work in the field. And really, whenever I look back at my records of how much I paid people just helping me on the job site, I could have hired one full-time employee and put them on a salary. So for example, if I just would have hired one full-time person, I would have built more consistency, accountability, and efficiency into my business. Now, in the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, it reports that the median annual wage for construction laborers is around $46K in 2024, and while equipment operators averaged about $58K per year. Now, using that data, it's clear that paying someone around $850 to $1,000 a week salary with clear expectations and consistent work, it would have been a smarter financial structure than overpaying on a per job basis. Now, another key insight from the BLS is the employer cost for employee compensation rate. Now, another key insight from the BLS employer cost compensation report is that benefits typically make up about 30% of employer labor cost. That means when you set wages, you should factor in things like taxes, downtime, training, and so much more. But even with those extra costs, having just one reliable trained employee ends up being way cheaper than the revolving door of just part-time helpers that come and help you whenever you get jobs. Now, if I could redo it, hiring one worker and training them across multiple tasks, such as in the field, doing the field work, and then in the office, selling the jobs, from my personal experience, it ends up making things more profitable. And you have consistent work coming in, but you're afraid of hiring somebody full-time because you don't know if you're going to be able to keep them on or not. If you bring somebody on full-time and you give them a salary and then you give them bonuses if they sell jobs, ultimately it causes the person that you're pouring into to invest their time into your company. And when one person handles the field work and even some back-end office stuff, sending invoices, posting photos, requesting reviews, sending invoices, it helps create another you. And when you have another you, your company continues to move in forward progression because you're no longer wasting time in retraining people or correcting sloppy mistakes. And on top of that, employee retention is going to save you more money. Studies that are conducted in HR management textbooks and even in some BLS data suggest that replacing a single worker can cost 50 to 200% of their annual salary when you consider lost productivity, recruiting time, and even retraining. So by keeping one solid person long term, you actually protect your margins, profitability, and as a business owner, even your sanity. All right, now the third thing that I would have done differently is I would have started partnering with paving and concrete companies from day one. Because when I started, I was trying to find my own leads, calling property managers, bidding one-off jobs, and essentially hoping that the phone would ring. And what I didn't realize is that there is already a built-in customer base through general contractors and paving companies who consistently need stripers to close out on their projects. And that's exactly what I have my sales guy doing now. He targets general contractors, paving, and concrete contractors on top of cold prospecting. I mean, I literally have a guy who sits here and does nothing but make contact with potential customers every single day. And that's just from cold prospecting. And what happens is if you become the go-to subcontractor for all the line striping, wheel stop installation, sign installation for larger companies, you will never run out of work. But here's my advice. If you partner with a company that big, make sure that it makes sense for them as it pertains to profitability. Because if they can do it in-house, why would they need you? So you've got to be able to do it for a good rate where they'll continuously use you and then still be able to be profitable as they subcontract you. Now, had I built relationships with asphalt and concrete companies early on, I would have locked in consistent weekly projects, filled my schedule, and really reduced downtime in between jobs. Now, we essentially blew up because of Google, but now we've got Google, referrals, cold calling, cold prospecting, and my sales guy stays on top of it. Now he's connected us, and we've essentially got more work than we can get to. And now I'm coming to the point where I'm gonna have to bring more people on just to continue to service the existing customers that we have, even though we're going into Q4. I mean, I'm fixing to go into the off season, and I've still got an enormous amount of work that we have not got to yet. And some of the work is in other states. Now, let me get back to the thought though, because most paving companies need a reliable striping partner to finish their jobs fast and essentially clean so they can collect the final payment. So if you can offer a 48-hour turnaround time on striping, they'll use you every single time. All right, hindsight is 2020. I would have created a simple closeout menu listing services like ADA stenciling, wheel stop installation, fire lane striping, and a punch list touch-ups. Then I would email or drop that off to paving contractors explaining that my team can handle their closeouts within 48 hours of pavement completion. Now, if you have a lot of leads, that really tends to be unrealistic, but I'm essentially dealing with people who don't have a consistent, predictable lead flow. So until you get to the point where you're having jobs every single day, then yeah, offer that 48-hour closeout time. And now by making their lives easier, you instantly become one of their workflow partners instead of just another vendor. So from a business development perspective, this is one of the smartest moves that you can make, and it turns your striping business from a seasonal side hustle into a steady subcontracting partner. And now you're not just chasing one-off clients, but you're aligning with companies that already sell the service to their existing customer base. So if I could go back over and do these 3 things differently without hesitation, first, I'd keep my full-time job to build a financial cushion to give my business room to breathe. Second, I'd hire a reliable, salaried employee to create consistency and protect my margins. And third, I'd focus on building relationships with paving and concrete contractors to secure the steady work. And these 3 strategies might sound simple, but in reality, they each address one of the biggest reasons why most small businesses fail: cash flow, labor management, and lead generation. By fixing these 3 areas, you can give your company the foundation it needs to scale sustainably. Anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell icon, and we will see you in the next video.